Hey, good morning, sisters. Um, I'm right here in Cincinnati today. Hey, I'm doing this video because right now I know a lot of sisters are hurting. I know you're hurting. And right now I wanted to share with you, I want to share with you what's been going on. I feel like we need to stop using bandage where we need to be getting stitches. It is time to get stitches where we need stitches. Because when you use a band-aid, all you're doing is covering it. You're just covering your pain. So what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. If you put a band-aid on and you're bleeding, that band-aid starts to seep through, you know. The blood starts to just come through the bandage. And then you'll need another bandage to cover that. So instead of getting a bandage, why not get stitches? You know, I'm right now, like I said, I'm at the emergency room here in Cincinnati to do this video because I wanted to kind of give you a visual of what I'm trying to say. Now, a bandage is when you're in a relationship and you know you're not supposed to be in that relationship, but you say, hey, I love my house, or you know, I've been knowing him for so long. Although he treats me bad, he beats me, he, talks bad to me and treats my kids bad. You continue to go in that relationship. You continue to go regardless because it feels good. That's putting a bandage on. And it's only temporary when you use a bandage. It really is. Like, it's a bandage when you say, hey, I'm going through this breakup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get somebody else, to cover that. I hear all the time people say the best way to get over somebody else is to get under somebody. And that's far from the truth. That's not true. That's just a bandage. What you need are stitches. Because when you get the stitches, it'll hold it in place. And then it comes to healing. So, like I said, let's not do the bandage. Let's do the stitching. Because there needs to be real healing. There's too many women hurting. And some of us just need to let that man go. Why is it? And I'm just going to say Tyrone, so if somebody's name is Tyrone, I'm sorry. But why is it you got a Tyrone in your life? You pay for his gas. You drive him to work. He uses your car while you're at work. And he don't even have a license. Can't even go get his license straight. But you letting him drive your car. And you're paying for his food. You're paying for the movies and everything else when you go out. That's a bandage. You got this man in your life and you know he's unnecessary in your life. People who come in your life, just because they make you feel good, don't mean they have a purpose in your life. So Tyrone tripping. You know what I mean? He's disrespecting you. How are you going to disrespect me on the phone that I pay for? Stop it. So, although it seems that I'm coming across in a joking manner, I want you to feel me, ladies, because I'm just like you are. What I want to get across is, you don't have to use a bandage. Why you have somebody in your life and you don't know why they are there? Or if something has hurt you in the past, why are you not getting help? What we do is we take that pain, and we've gotten so used to having pain that we continue to thrive in that pain, and we just shake it off. We just go on to the next thing, and then the next thing hurt us and we go on to the next thing. Well, that's a bandage. It's time to get to the hospital. It's time to get some stitches. One thing that I'm going to share with you all, and it's very important. It's very important. I have to open myself up to you all so that you know what you're going through, somebody's been through already. I decided that I was going to get a bandage. I was in a relationship. It was back and forth. Ladies, you know how you do. It's just like we were not getting along. We're going back and forth. It's constant arguments. It's constant fights. And he's leaving. He's staying out all night. There's other women calling. Bandage. When a man shows you that he's not putting you first and making you his priority, It's a bandage to keep on holding on to him like there's no other option. And most of us just need healing, period. Sometimes you don't even need a man. You need to heal yourself. Go to Christ. Go to God. Get that healing and then get in a relationship. But like I was saying, I got into a bandage relationship. Me and the ex at that time, we decided to stop talking because I decided I had enough. I'd had enough. But, I don't think he was done yet. And in my heart, I really wasn't done because I used to go back and forth, You know how it is. You go back and forth and we're going to go on dates and stuff. You're doing all the extra stuff like it's going to get better. And then it doesn't get better. Well, what I decided to do was get somebody else. I met a guy. Later, he would become my ex-husband. Before this failed marriage, if you watch my videos, you know that I was married to a man recently who turned out to be a gay man. But before him, it was years before him, I got into a relationship. I mean, this guy, he was handsome. He was the father, he was good to his kids, and, he said all the right things and did all the right things, ladies. I mean, this was a year where we were dating. He would, take me to his house and cook for me. He would do all the things that ladies want done. I mean, he came in the form of a good man, right? Well, we decided that we were going to move to Atlanta. He had family in Atlanta, and I wanted to be there, I wanted to be in Atlanta. I liked Atlanta. So what we did was look for a house ahead of time. And he's like, oh, they don't have the house ready. So there was a week that we had to stay in a in-town suite. Me, my kids, and him. Before we would transition to go to Georgia. So in the midst of that, I went to a grocery store with him one day. I'm going on the next aisle. I'm going to get something that we needed. And in the midst of me getting what I needed, there was a guy trying to talk to me. I didn't pay him attention. You know how it is. People flirt all the time. When you've got a man, you've got a man. You're not paying anybody else attention. So I walked to the next aisle and I noticed my ex had an attitude. I'm like, what's wrong, babe? He was like, I'll talk to you when I get to the car. I'm like, okay. So we get to the car and he's mad the whole way. He's like, I just can't even talk to you right now. When we get to the hotel, I'll talk to you then. The kids were not at the hotel at this moment because they had went over to play. They went to my sister's house. So he turns around. When he get in the hotel, he smacked me as hard as he could. And I'm like, oh my God, what you do that for? And I'm, cussing. And he was like, you gonna flirt with somebody right in front of me? You gonna flirt with another man right in front of me? I was like, I wasn't flirting. Somebody just talked to me or whatever. He's like, you're with me, that makes me mad. You don't do that. And it was just, he started hitting me again, and we're fighting. We fall into the tub and everything. And he's a really big guy. If you know how Suge Knight looks, then, he's a big guy. Like, really, I couldn't hold him. I couldn't hold him. So he was fighting and he started choking me. What he did was he lifted me up out of the shower, out of the tub, with his hands, and was still throwing me and fighting. Like, finally, I did like this in the corner. And for some reason, he backed up. He backed up and he left. When he left, I was like, I cannot believe he just did that. Like, this is not the man that I've known for this year. He had never put his hands on me. I didn't understand what was going on. But I was telling myself, like, no, he can't do that again. When he came in, the kids were back. And he was telling me, I'm sorry, babe. I would never hurt you again. I didn't mean to do that. He said, I got so angry. It makes me mad when somebody talks to you, and so I don't like that. He was like, You know how he said men will try to come and they'll try to take what you have. You know, it's not about anybody else. You know, don't be worried about who's talking to me. Be worried about who I'm responding to, which I wasn't responding to anybody. So I decided to go ahead anyway and go to Georgia because we already had everything moved. We already had everything packed up. We had already, you know, I'd already gave up my house and he had gave up his house. And like I said, he used to have a really nice house and everything. We dated, we did all that. So what I ended up doing was we're riding down the street. While we were riding down the street to go to Georgia, my phone stopped working. I specifically asked him, will I still have service so I can keep in touch with my family when we go to Georgia? Because I had cricket at that time. And he's like, yeah, you'll be fine. Well, my phone never worked. I said, what am I supposed to do about my family? He's like, you can use my phone whenever you need to call them. The first incident we had about another year later, once we got there, everything was fine. It was like, okay, he did that one time, I forgave him. Because to me, being a Christian was always meaning forgiveness. Just forgiving and giving a person another chance and another chance and another chance. But that wasn't the case. That's not what being a Christian is. A Christian is not just letting somebody mistreat you over and over and over again. That's not a Christian. So he was getting ready to leave. And I said, where are you going? He said, I don't have to explain to you where I'm going. He said, don't ask me where I'm going. I'm grown. I'm like, okay, fine. Because what was stuck in my head was that one fight we had. And I didn't want to fight him anymore. And so he started getting to the point where he would just go where he wanted to go. I wouldn't know where he was going. But I couldn't do anything without him. He wouldn't let me go to the library. He wouldn't let me go to church. If I went to Kroger's, he would tell me, take a picture to show me that you're really at Kroger's. So I'm like, I would take the picture just to show him, At that time I thought, well, he's just a little insecure, I went to church one day. I told him I'm going to the store, but I went to sit in church in the back. I'm sitting in the back row trying to hear the word. I just wanted a few minutes of the word. All of a sudden, somebody taps me. And it's him. He's like, get your stuff. Get your purse. Let's go. I'm like, that's embarrassing. I'm getting my purse and he grabbed me by my arm and he's taking me outside. Nobody tried to help at church. Nobody said what's going on or anything. Nobody. We get home and there's a full fight. There is a full fight. It was bad. It was bad. He didn't get into the situation of hitting until I got in the tub. When I was sitting in the tub, I was playing my music. I was playing the gospel music. And he took and threw the radio in the sink. And he broke the CDs. He's like, I'm your God. I'm your God. He said that all the time. I'm your God. Or if he would hit me, he'd say, where's your God now? I was scared to leave. At that point, I was scared to leave. I was thinking about my kids. Because he told me, if you do leave me, he was like, I'll kill your kids. And I'll make you watch. And then I'll kill you. And I had no reason to doubt what he was saying. I had no reason to doubt what he was saying at all. It was about 2 months after that. I brought my check home and I'm like telling him how much I made and stuff like that. And he was telling me, well, give me your check. I'm like, for what? He's like, you only need $10 out of your check. He was keeping me with a little bit of money so that I would not leave him. When he would go to work, he was a truck driver. He was only over the road twice in a week. When he left, that would be when me and the kids would go to the store and have fun and do things, because when he was there, he wanted all doors closed. Everything had to be super spotless. When he was home, there had to be a meal on the table. He did not, like, I didn't realize that he didn't play when it comes to the food. Well, one day I was busy with the homework. I was busy with work before that. I forgot. I didn't cook. So he comes home and he tells me, he asks, "Did you not cook? I don't smell any food." I'm like, "No, I didn't cook." I was like, "We can order a pizza." He's like, "A pizza? A pizza?" He gets super crazy. He's throwing stuff and I'm standing in the corner like, I know what's going to happen. So he was like, "Just go get in the tub. Go get in the tub," because I still had my work clothes on. When I got ready to get in the tub, he took me and was pulling me, trying to put me outside. And I'm trying to fight him. I'm trying to like run and trying to fall on the floor. And he threw me outside naked. He threw me outside naked. At that time, we lived in an apartment complex. I was out there and I'm covering myself like this, trying to hide. And my next door neighbor, he came out and he brought me a shirt. He said, "I hear you every day." He's like, "You don't have to take that. If you need a place to go until you can get some help," he said, "you and your kids can come to my house." And at that time, he had beat me down so bad, I would walk around like this. And as the man was talking to me, I was holding my head down so I wouldn't look in his face. Like, I didn't want my ex to, my husband at that time, to think that I was looking at him if he was looking out the window or anything. So I told him I'm okay. So I'm sitting out there in a shirt for about an hour. At that time, my husband comes to the door and he said, "Are you ready to come in?" I'm like, "Yes." He said, "Get down and beg to come back in the house." Well, I knew my children were in the house. So I got down on my knees and I said, "Please, let me back in." He's like, "Why should I?" I said, "I'm sorry." I was like, "I'll make sure that I have your food ready for now on when you come home." I was like, "Please let me back in." So he stood to the side and let me in the door. And he stopped me. He said, you just wanted to be seen." He said, "You could have fought me to stay in the house." I don't know how I could have fought him to stay in the house. I tried. My daughter told me about 4 weeks later. She said, "Mom," she said, "while you were at work the other day," and she called him Dad. They had been around each other for years, even as the dating process. She was like, "Stepdad," she was like, "he told me to come in and sit in the room and I can look at TV in your room." Now me, I didn't allow my daughter to be around men when I wasn't home. They would stay in their room or they would go places with him, but I never want her to be alone by herself with a man because of what I went through as a child. So she said that he asked her to sit and watch TV. She said she sat right there in front of the bed. She said told her, "Well, get up here with me. You can get up here." So she climbed up there on the covers and she said he touched her private part. Well, right away, what I did was I went and approached him because, all fear aside, you're messing with my baby. I go to him and I asked him, I said, "What's your problem?" He stands up and he's like, what do you mean? What's my problem? I'm like, you touched my daughter. He's like, I didn't touch her. Did she say that? Why would she tell you that? So he starts walking toward the bedroom where the kids are. And I'm like, no. I'm pushing him, trying to push him or trying to stop him. I'm like, no, you're not going to go in that room with her. No. Because I know how men would try to scare you because, back in the day when that happened to me, that happened. There was fear. My mom put me in front of the man and asked, did he do, that? And, as a child, that's when the fear sets in. So my daughter told me after he went into the room, she was like, I lied. He didn't touch me right there. I said that because I want you to come home from work. I'm like, why would you lie? I said, you don't lie about something like that. I said, that's serious. Well, I have to backtrack just a little bit. When we moved to Georgia, there was a phone call when he left his phone one day. I answered the phone, and a woman, she's like, hello, I'm looking for so-and-so. I'm like, who is this? She's like, this is his fiance. I'm like, you couldn't be his fiance. I'm his wife. And she gets mad, and which is understandable. She got mad, and she's like, no, he has my truck, and it's like, I'm like, the red truck? She was like, yes, that's my truck. And she was like, he took some stuff out my house. So, ladies, the house he was taking me to, fixing meals for me, giving me massages, doing all that, that was this woman's house. And she would be at work, she said. She said she worked doubles all the time. So he was really bringing me over another woman's house. Fast forward back. The next time that we had a fight, I had moved back. Well, we had moved back to Kentucky because he said he wanted to be closer to his daughters. He had 2 daughters. Well, 3. One of them he really didn't, talk to at all. His own daughters, he wouldn't give a bath. He would make me give them their bath. I think he was really scared to touch them. But we were in this house, and my sister stopped by. I remember it was snowing outside. She stopped by, and she saw me, and she was trying to talk to me, but I was scared to talk to my own sister. I was scared to even let her in the house. And when he saw the footprints, when he came back in the snow, and he's like, who's been here? And I told him my sister stopped by. He was mad. He was like, didn't I tell you don't talk to nobody? Well, when I went in the house, I'm just like, yeah, you said don't talk to anybody, but that's my sister. He said, I don't care who it is. So once again, he's starting to choke me, and he's just like, didn't I tell you I'm your God? Didn't I tell you I run shit? I'm your God. And I'm like, you're not my God. When I said that, he choked me, and I've got away from him somehow. And I ran into the bathroom because I had started to hide a knife. I said the next time he touched me, I was going to kill him. I put a knife in the side of by where the toilet is, and I had stabbed the knife on the side of the bed to grab it the next time he hit me. But I could not make it to the one by the bed. So when I went into the when I went into the bathroom and I was trying to reach for that, then he came in, he hit me in my head, hit the bowl. I don't know if you can see it, but my head had hit the toilet bowl. And at that moment, I was like, he's going to kill me. I'm like, he's going to kill me. And I took the knife and I stabbed him in the side of his leg. Believe it or not, I still didn't leave. I still had a fear of leaving. I tried. I'll say I tried. Because after that, what I did was I moved. I got a U-Haul while he was at work, And I moved all the way to Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't know anybody in Phoenix. So I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. And like, it was just to get away from him, you know. It was so crazy that fear still gripped me, even living that far away from him. And I would still be scared to the point where I felt like I had to answer the phone when he called. Well, he had told me, you know, I'm taking counseling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And his brother had vouched for him that he was taking counseling and all that stuff. And I kept thinking, like we do, I was thinking about the good times we had. And I wanted to get back to that. So I let him come to Phoenix. I know, stupid, I know. I let him come to Phoenix. And he was there for about 3 weeks before it went bad again. My daughter and my son told me, you know, when you go to work, he makes us go outside, and we're in Phoenix. It's hot. He said he makes us go out there all day, and then when you get ready to come home, he lets us come back home. So I approached him about that, and he gets mad. Well, he gets on the phone, and he calls somebody, and he's like, yeah, come and get me. This bitch is tripping. He's just like, yeah, come and get me. Okay, babe. So he called a woman. He sat there and called a woman right in my face. And all I could think is all this torment and torture this man has put me through. So he called his brother. He was on the phone asking about a plane ticket. And while he was on the phone, I took an extension cord. And I took the extension cord and put it around his neck from behind. And I was just like this, just holding the extension cord. And so he fell down in the chair. And I said, get out right now. I said, get out. Because he was going to make me kill him. He was going to make me kill him. So he said, can you at least give me a ride to the airport? I said, yeah, I'll give you a ride to the airport. But by that time I had a gun. And I told him, you sit in the back seat and I'll sit this in the front seat. And I had my hand on the steering wheel and I had my hand on the seat. And so he's sitting in the back where I can see him. Well, he starts calling me bitches and all these names. I said, get out the car right now. Needless to say that he got out because the gun was right there. And I left him right on the side of the highway. I didn't care how he got to where he was going. Well, it's crazy, right? Believe it or not, when I moved back to Georgia, because like I said, I did not know anybody in Phoenix or anything like that. I moved back to Georgia. And when I got to Georgia, he had showed me all his papers, how he got help. He got like drinking help. He got help, you know, with counseling and everything. And the pastor told me at the church, you should not leave your husband. He has gotten counseling and he's tried. Sometimes churches can keep you bound. Sometimes, not every church, but some churches can keep you bound. This pastor told me to stop making him upset. You know, because he does have an anger problem. Well, I went home and we're living together again. I thought he was cheating. So I came home early one day. And I'm thinking, well, he's at work, so I can talk to my kids and, you know. So I talked to my daughter, and I was asking my daughter, I said, what's wrong? You know, I said, because you look sad. She just wasn't the same kid no more. And I'm not stupid. I know she had been through a lot. You know, I had been through a lot, but she had been through a lot, seeing me go through this. And my son had been seeing me go through this. That's why I say, if you can't leave for yourself, leave for the kids. So she's seeing this. But she told me, she said, no, it's not that. I said, well, is it a boy? Because, at this time she's 14. And she's like, no, it's not a boy. She said, I can't tell you who it is because he said he'll kill you. And he'll kill me. And I said, who is it? I said my ex-husband's name at that time. And she said, she started crying. And I hugged her and I'm just like, tell me what happened. And she said, well, when you would be asleep, and I take a shower, he would come and get in the shower behind me. And he's been raping her since her birthday last year. The year before. She said one day she came home and there was a note on the door. It said, take a shower. I'll meet you and pick you up to go to the doctor. And she thought it was me. She said when she went into the bathroom, she took her clothes off. When she pulled the curtain back to turn the shower on, my ex was in the shower. So, she said, when you were at work and my son's at school, she said when she gets from school, he would be sitting on the couch naked. She said she turned her cover over and she was like, these stains was from him. And she said, I begged him not to keep doing this. And he said, okay, I don't mean to hurt you, but he can't stop. She's like, well, I told her, I don't, please don't. And I don't want to get pregnant. And I don't want. He said, well, she told me. She said, well, he told me I got a hysterectomy. You won't get pregnant. I got a vasectomy. You won't get pregnant. Well, I'm the only one who knew he had a vasectomy. But when my daughter told me, I knew right off the bat she wasn't lying. She said, Mom, I didn't lie to you when I told you that he touched me in the bed that time. She said, I was scared. Well, when he was already at work, I called him and I had another phone and I was holding that phone for recording. For some reason, something led me to do that. And he said, what you want? I'm like, you know what? I said, I had a camera in the room. I saw what you did. I was bluffing, y'all. I didn't have a camera. But he said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt nobody. He started admitting everything. He said, I'm sorry. He said, we've been through so much, Donna. We've been through so much. Please don't call the police. And I said, I've already called the police. I said, and I wouldn't care if we rode camels together with Jesus. I'm like, you touched my daughter. I said, you better hope the police get to you before I do. Because see, all the fear had left. It's one thing to be afraid because somebody's doing something to you, but it's another thing when it's your kids. I think, and I still say thank you to his friend who was an Atlanta police officer. He ran to his house and the friend called. And I say thank you a million times. He ended up getting locked up. And when we first went to court, well, the judge granted me a divorce in 3 days. But we went to court and he blew a kiss at me when he walked out the door in handcuffs. And my daughter looked down and I held her hand and I told her, no, this is your moment of strength. And I tell my daughter a million times, I'm sorry. Because my daughter was She was a virgin, and she was holding herself. She had a promise ring because she had promised me that she wouldn't have sex until she was married. She said, "Mama, I don't want this ring no more." She said, "Because God is mad at me." I'm like, "No, I say He took your innocence. You didn't give it away." I'm like, God is not judging you for that. Ladies, when I say quit using bandage when you need stitches, I mean that. I am so healed over him. But I'm human and I still feel. And the way I think about my daughter, I'm thinking about your babies. And I'm thinking about you. If you have a man, oh God, but God, if you have a man who is treating you bad, don't go look for another man to cover your wound. Go get stitches, sis. That band-aid is only temporary. I can tell you the disrespect doesn't get better. Girl, he's cussed you out 1,000,000 times and he's sorry every time. He's beat you 100 times and told you he's sorry and brought you gifts. He's staying out all night and messing around with the girls. What if he bring you HIV? I thank God that I didn't suffer, diseases. And I thank God that I didn't turn to drugs. And I thank God that my kids are okay. I did put them in counseling until they said, "Mama, we tired of going to counseling." And I took counseling because sometimes you need somebody else to see what you don't see. So right now, I want to pray for every woman that feels like they're not strong enough. If you're not strong enough and you need a friend, you can reach out to me. I don't care if it's through this page or through Sister Seat. Lord God, right now you see that sister that is hurting. And you see those babies that are in pain, Lord God. I thank you that it's not too late. I pray right now that you release them. Lord, give them the strength. Give them the desires. Let them know the material things mean nothing. You've got all the love they need. You've got the housing that they need. Lord God, and even if it led to homelessness, Lord God, you'll make a way. Right now, I ask you to just free every woman, Lord God, that is bound so that she can meet her purpose. Amen. Ladies, I know a girl or knew a girl who was not fortunate enough. Her ex hung her in a tree and cut off her breast. How many times did we say leave? We told her don't be with him. But just like somebody told me don't be with him. Just like somebody telling you get away from him. I know you're not going to leave until you're ready. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. But please, please, Stop using bandage when you need stitches.